Good morning. Today we are discussing Brown-Séquard Syndrome, a fascinating clinical entity that serves as a living anatomy lesson. Named after Charles Edward Brown-Séquard, who first described this condition in the mid-19th century, this syndrome results from the functional hemisection of the spinal cord. While the classic pure version is a staple of medical board exams, in the clinical setting we more frequently encounter incomplete or asymmetric variations. Understanding this syndrome is vital for front-end clinicians because its unique sensory-motor crossover pattern allows us to localize a spinal lesion with remarkable precision, often before the patient even reaches the imaging suite. To understand why Brown-Séquard syndrome looks the way it does, we must visualize the three major pathways of the spinal cord. First, consider the lateral corticospinal tract. These motor fibers have already crossed in the medulla, therefore a lesion in the spinal cord causes paralysis on the same side as the injury. Second, the dorsal columns carry information about vibration and position sense. These fibers travel up the cord on the same side they enter and do not cross until they reach the brainstem. Thus, a right-sided cord lesion causes right-sided loss of proprioception. Finally, we have the lateral spinothalamic tract, which carries pain and temperature. Unlike the others, these fibers cross to the opposite side of the spinal cord almost immediately, usually within 1 or 2 segments of entering. Consequently, a lesion on the right side of the cord interrupts the crossed fibers coming from the left side of the body. This creates the classic clinical hallmark. The patient cannot move their right leg, but they cannot feel heat or pain on their left leg.
Let us consider a hypothetical case to illustrate this. Imagine a 30-year-old male presenting to the emergency department following a penetrating stab wound to the right side of his mid-back. On physical examination, you find that he has 0 out of 5 strength in his right leg, but full strength in his left. However, when testing sensation, he can feel a pinprick perfectly fine on his paralyzed right leg, yet he is completely unable to distinguish between sharp and dull stimuli on his strong left leg. Furthermore, he cannot tell you the position of his right toes without looking at them. This striking asymmetry, paralysis on one side and sensory loss on the other, is the pathognomonic signature of Brown-Séquard syndrome. You may also find a narrow band of complete sensory loss at the level of the injury on the right side where the local nerves enter the cord. When you encounter a patient with these symptoms, your priority is twofold: stabilizing the spine and obtaining definitive imaging. Magnetic resonance imaging is the gold standard of care. It provides a detailed view of the spinal cord itself, allowing us to see the extent of the hemisection, any associated swelling or edema, and whether there's an ongoing compression from a disc or hematoma. Computed tomography is also useful, particularly in trauma, to look for fractures or bone fragments that might be encroaching on the spinal canal. Always remember to perform a full American Spinal Injury Association exam to document the baseline level of injury, as this will be your yardstick for measuring future recovery.
The management of Brown-Séquard syndrome is often multidisciplinary. In the acute phase, we follow standard trauma protocols. Maintaining spinal perfusion is critical. We generally aim for a mean arterial pressure of 85 to 90 millimeters of mercury for the first week to ensure the injured cord receives adequate oxygen. Surgery is not always necessary, but is indicated if the spine is unstable or if there is something clearly pressing on the cord that can be removed. Unlike many other spinal injuries, the focus here shifts very quickly to intensive rehabilitation. Because these patients often have one good side and one weak side, their rehabilitation trajectory is quite different from those with complete paralysis. They require specialized physical therapy to balance their gait and occupational therapy to manage daily tasks as their motor function returns. The news for patients with Brown-Séquard syndrome is generally more positive than for other types of spinal cord injuries. The prognosis is quite favorable. Most patients, over 90%, will eventually regain the ability to walk. This is because the pathways on the uninjured side of the cord remain intact, and the cord has a remarkable degree of plasticity. Most patients also regain control of their bowel and bladder function. While the recovery of fine motor skills in the hand or distal leg may take months or may never fully reach 100%, the vast majority of these individuals return to a high level of functional independence. Thank you for your attention. Please let me know if you have any questions.